right, let's welcome in our good friend JD in the Crosshairs with JD and Clay. We're missing the other half, but I'm sure he'll join us when he gets a chance. Good afternoon, JD. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Jay?
Hey, man, fantastic Monday, gorgeous day. Want to get outside and do some stuff after work today, so looking forward to that. I hope you had a good weekend.
I did. Had a great weekend. You know, the weather was nice yesterday. I got out to my buddy's place. We went to his gun range and did a little video for the channel and some other stuff, and it was great. Great, beautiful weather. Had a good time with him. And
yeah,
it was
looking
awesome,
forward to looking forward to these spring days. I know yesterday we kind of had a work field trip, if you will. We went out to. Have you ever played pickleball?
I haven't. How's that go?
You know, it was actually pretty fun. First time ever in my life. We kind of had a work event. We thought we'd get everybody involved, and it was pretty fun there at that new tennis place in Mandan there. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot.
What's pickleball like? What does that consist of?
You know what? You can take tennis and ping pong, marry those two, and the child you'll get would be pickleball. That's essentially what it is.
Okay, well, that sounds fun.
It is. It's got out and got some exercise, so that was real nice. Well, JD, let's talk. We've got some topics here I want to run by you. First of all, the Idaho game warden now had to shoot a dog that was chasing and killing mule deer fawns. Now, is this a common occurrence, and how liable is the dog's owner when this happens?
Well, we have on our farm on occasion had some of the neighbors' dogs will kind of come over there and harass deer and whatnot. I mean, I've never shot at anybody's dog for doing that. I mean, I might have shot a few in the air to scare them off, but as far as doing that, you know, shooting at the person's dog, I don't know. I always thought, if you shoot somebody's dog, you're going to get yourself shot in some instances. So, but yeah, the guy in Idaho is actually a conservation officer, and he was responding to a call that wasn't associated with these dogs chasing the deer fawns around. And some people around there who he was talking to said they've seen these two dogs chasing a mule deer fawn. And he's just checking. Sorry, I got distracted there on Clay's
That's
thing.
okay.
And so they told him they'd seen the two dogs chase and kill a mule deer fawn and then leave and go chase another one. And it wasn't the first time they've heard these reports there from the local sheriff had it and whatnot. So he goes to inspect the fawn and he sees a dog chasing another fawn, right? So what he does, he shoots this one dog, right? And of course, after he did that, he shot the dog while it was in mid-pursuit, returned the dog to its owner and fined him $136, which why don't you just round it off to something, I guess.
Yeah.
And, you know, according to the people around there, these dogs have been around harassing and chasing elk. It had killed an elk before, an elk calf, and wounded another one, and which eventually died then too. So, yeah, and I guess according to Idaho law, you know, the game wardens there have the go ahead and shoot dogs that are harassing wildlife.
You know, that's got to be pretty tough, especially I'm a dog owner, and I'm sure you guys got dogs as well out on the farm and whatnot. And to have an animal that you have not just for companionship, but also for protection, this dog doesn't. You can't discern between a fawn or any other animal. It could be, it doesn't know really, is it a predatory animal? It's just probably chasing them. That's my personal take on it. So, I mean, I really kind of feel bad for that dog owner, or the dog, of course, too.
Right. I mean, that's pretty much a lot of dogs. That's just a dog being a dog. You know, if you're out bird hunting, a dog's, even a pheasant hunting dog, if he just sees birds or for that matter, I mean, he just hears you rattling your shotgun around. The dogs know that, and they start getting excited for it. And, you know, that's, like you said, that's just dogs being a dog. But so their state code actually reads, Jay, it is unlawful for people to allow dogs to harass, chase, or kill big game in Idaho. The fish and game officers are authorized to shoot dogs that are actively engaged in those behaviors. Mm-hmm. So I guess he's not going to get in any trouble for it.
Okay.
And, you know, according to their law, the dog was breaking the dog, I guess, when I say that, was breaking the law.
Which is hard to believe. But, hey, there's Clay. Welcome in, Clay. How are you, buddy?
I don't know if you guys can hear me. I got no audio.
we hear you. You can't hear us, I guess.
Yep, we can hear you. Well, let's move on to our next topic as we get Clay set up there. Speaking of in trouble, in Houston recently, 4 armed robbers attempted a gas station heist where an armed customer, a good guy with a gun, put an end to that idea. Now, JD, give them the background on it. And then my question to you, is this customer in any sort of trouble?
So yeah, Circle K convenience store in Houston. 4 people jump out of a car, go in there, try and start robbing the people in the store, pull their guns out and whatnot. And you know, unfortunately for those criminals, there was an armed citizen there, and he pulls his gun. He shoots 3 of them. They take off, and you know, according to the story, self-transported to the hospital. None of them died, but they wounded them all. But yeah, one guy with right there, a good armed citizen with the gun, stopped the robbery. Apparently, gunshots were exchanged. Somebody else in there was shot and not seriously wounded, and they don't know if it was the guy, you know, the good guy with the gun, or the 4 criminals in there. So, and I don't think the guy's in trouble at all, because Texas has some really pro self-defense laws, and actually, you know, using your gun to help other people out. And
okay,
you know, if you see somebody robbing something down there, like out of another house, you know, you can actually use your firearm to stop the. I mean, there's been numerous cases where that's happened to people who got off.
yeah. So the difference, let's say, that happened in North Dakota, we were up at you know, the local gas station, and that were to happen here, things would be different for us here, wouldn't it be?
You know, Jay, I'd be lying if I told you I knew the exact, but I don't think our laws for self-defense are quite as liberal as Texas's are.
Yeah.
So I think man, I know the law changed a couple years ago, something when Becker had a law. I think if you actually are in the presence of somebody being robbed, you'll be all right if you do use your firearm to, you know, to stop a car. I'll tell you what, if I'm in a gas station and somebody's in there pulling a gun out, I'm going to pull mine on them for sure. I mean, I might get shot, but my train of thought, I can't stand letting people do that and get away with it. And I think it's 100% in the right if you can stop. I mean, I'm not going to start shooting if there's a bunch of people behind them, obviously. You know, and if that was the case, you got to use your head and realize, hey, I might stop this, but I'm going to hurt a bunch of other people, so you can't. If that was the case, but I want to say, I don't think you get in a whole lot of trouble here for doing that, especially if everything went right for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's see, a couple other topics here. If we can get Clay in here, I know he's got a lot to say, but hopefully he can get in. Last week, the NRA had their convention in Indianapolis. What were some of the big takeaways that you heard there in Indianapolis?
So yeah, Friday, Saturday, and actually ended yesterday, Sunday in Indianapolis. And one of the big things that was going on was the leadership conference there, and they had a bunch of, you know, Donald Trump and a whole bunch of presidential hopefuls and other congressional people were there. And, you know, I took a few takeaways. I actually watched all their speeches and listened to them. And, you know, Trump declared himself the most pro-gun Second Amendment president in the history of the White House, which he did do a lot of pro-gun things. I'm not going to deny that, but I'm definitely not going to say he was the most.
Okay.
You know? And, here, Clay, you hear us yet? I see him. Here? He just muted it.
There it is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yep, we can hear you.
All right, I got you now. I don't know what was happening here.
All right, well, that's the way it goes sometimes.
It's the ghost. It's those ghosts in the machine there, Clay. You bet.
I had all the settings right and nothing was working. Go figure, huh? Got to be Bill Gates' fault.
Yeah, he's in there doing something to us, that dang it. But so going on further with what Trump was talking about, he pointed out nearly 300 federal judges who interpret the law as written, which I'm 100% grateful for the judges that he put in there. I mean, they say conservative judges or liberal judges. I don't say conservative. I say constitutional judges. They don't put any spin on anything like that, And he's faced down the attacks from the left, which a lot of these people have. And he announced that he's going to, which was a kind of a recurring theme with all of these candidates, Jay, that they were going to repeal the ATF's administrative order on pistol braces and get rid of the ATF completely. And which I'm on board with for sure, getting rid of. I mean, it's just going to be transferred over to the FBI if they do it. But I think the FBI is, as it is now, they're hard on gun shop owners, and they're not friendly to gun owners. they come up with these arbitrary laws. Like Clay likes, I like that term too, arbitrary laws, and then just do it like they're not supposed to do it and they're unconstitutional. But
Sure.
you know, they're not going to be held accountable by this administration. I don't know. Maybe Clay's got something to add for Trump. We can go over the rest of these candidates after that, which I watched them all as well.
Yeah,
Well,
Clay. We were talking about last week had their NRA convention in Indianapolis, and I had asked JD what were some of the big takeaways that he had over the weekend.
Yeah, you know, Trump, as I'm sure you guys talked about, the Supreme Court justices were huge. I don't like all of them, but obviously it did the right thing. Bruin came up. It was a great decision. Every decision that's came through the Supreme Court now has set a precedent that will be great for Second Amendment rights here on forth. And you can kind of see it in these state cases as they're moving their way through. So, I mean, when you look at Trump's record that way, he slipped and fell on a few things like anybody does. But I think he has a proven record. Now, you move on to like Sununu. I got to say, I listened to that speech and it was invigorating. I mean, I think out of all the speeches, his was the most exciting.
I'd agree.
Probably captured the most people as far as their actual attentiveness. I mean, the guy did a fantastic job and he's right. You know, Sununu put it out there. He said, I signed constitutional carry in 4 weeks. DeSantis took, 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
He was playing the game, and you got to do that when you're a candidate. Now, the other guy out there, which was, I forget his name off the top of my head, but Vicar or something like that.
Yeah. He's the immigrant from India. His name is Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy. He had a great speech. Okay. His speech was, again, exciting. I never read this article until me and Jamie were talking about it, but I know when I was visiting on the phone, I said, it's like he tried too hard. Well, whoever wrote this article said the same thing. It's like he was trying to feed the crowd exactly what they wanted to hear without believing it. He just, to me, I hope he does. I don't even know what his views were before. I've never taken him as a serious candidate. I'm going to definitely check it out. But I can tell you right now, his speech was exciting. It was a very invigorating speech, and it captured the audience as well. I don't think like Sununu's. Of course, Kristi Noem stole the show as far as I'm concerned when she actually signed her executive order. That was awesome.
I mean, well played, Governor Noem. Well played. She's got bigger cojones than North Dakota's governor, no doubt about it. And I gotta love what she's doing. And I can tell you, working with Governor Noem, and at the time when she was in the legislature, this woman is completely solid, 100% Second Amendment. You can have other issues with her, but I'm telling you right now, she is a Second Amendment to the core, which I thought came through in her speech. And the things she says, when she gets up there and signs an executive order and quoting Thomas Jefferson, I mean, it don't get any better than that. And she believes it. I can tell you in personal conversations back when I worked with her in the legislature, lobbying, that woman, she's the real deal when it comes to the Second Amendment. So, overall, Trump still he was center stage. He's always going to be. Trump carries that about him. But there's some contenders there as far as vice presidential possible nominations. And I think Sununu, if he keeps on track, he's got a bright future coming ahead of him if he ever wants to try for something.
Well, Sununu's I think he's elected for the 4th time now as governor of New Hampshire, which is not, I wouldn't exactly call that a right-wing state for sure.
No.
And I did watch that Ramaswamy thing because I heard his name. I didn't know what he was about. And I kind of come away different from what you and Cam did there. I think he kind of just flat out said it there. I'm not going to act like somebody I'm not, because he said, I don't go to the gun range. I've done it. I enjoy it. But I'm not going to act like I'm a big gun guy. But, I mean, when it comes to what the Second Amendment was all about, I think the guy hit it spot on what it's all about. He said that, too, with abolish ATF and FBI. And then he said somebody run into him in the hallway there when he was walking around, asked him, do you even own a gun? He said, yeah, I own an AR-15. And then the person says, well, do you even know what that stands for? He goes, yeah, it stands for freedom. And I was like, all right, that was pretty awesome.
He said all the right things. There's no doubt about it.
Sununu so he got a shot in on Trump too there. I caught that right away.
Did.
I was listening to work Friday and he said, one of these prominent politician guys, he said, take the guns first and worry about their rights later. And I was like, ooh, because I do remember when Trump said that.
Trump
and also,
yes.
I watched DeSantis's, I would say not much fire in his speech. Just words he said, the context of it was awesome, but he's just not a very excitable guy.
Not
Trump
very
kept
charismatic.
calling him DeSantis, and he didn't say sanctimonious, like he said DeSantis.
I will say this
I get a
about,
kick out of it.
about Sununu. One thing I really liked about Sununu is he did point out to his record and said that he had vetoed every piece of gun legislation, anti-gun is what he's talking about, that arrived on his desk. And when I went and checked it out, it's true. So I got to believe him when he says that. So, right now in the era that we're in, as much as Vivek Ramsway or Ramsway, he had a good speech, but I can tell you right now, when it comes to me, and I imagine with a lot of voters right now, we're going to go with people that are tried and true, and
he's not
actually
going to win.
and have a record as to what they will and won't do. That plain and simple right now, that's where we're at. We're in a war for a lot of things, and it ain't just over in the Ukraine, which we shouldn't be, but we are in a war in this country for what we believe in and stand for.
I think that nomination process between Sununu and Mr. Trump is going to be quite hotly contested in the next 12 months. I think that is going to be something to watch.
He and DeSantis, and that's Sununu. I mean, I've heard of him before, and his dad was it with Bush the senior. John Sununu was his dad.
Yep.
Is his dad, and I believe he was the Secretary of Defense or something. I can't remember, but the guy come out there with a ton of energy, and I was pretty impressed with him. He seems like he's like a genuine gun guy too, because he was, Sig Sauer's in New Hampshire, and he's calling out. He said, I was down on the event floor, and my boys from Sig were there, and I was like, really, your boys, huh? You don't hear a governor talking about gun companies like that. So, it was good. He had a lot of energy. I enjoyed it, and I'd like to see that. Like I said, I never heard of this Ramasway before, but he's 37. It's just good to have somebody like that with some fire and younger and on the main stage. So we'll hopefully, Trump might get one of these guys for his VP. I'm still on the board for whoever gets, and it's probably going to be Trump to get Noam on board. I would love to see her, but she claims she's not going to do it. But
she's not.
Yeah. Well, let's turn to another subject. Clay, you had sent us an idea for a 2020 legislative session declaring the Winchester lever action as the North Dakota state firearm, Teddy Roosevelt's choice for firearms. Tell us more on that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was an interesting thing when I saw this AR, the article about an AR-15 being the national gun, and I know other states have state firearms, and I kind of thought the 2025 legislative session might be a great time now to introduce that, and we should have a North Dakota state firearm, and what better one than the Winchester lever action? We can talk about if we need to specify a model or not, because there, of course, are several of those Browning designs in the Winchester lever action family. Teddy was pretty partial, I believe, to the 1865. He loved the model 1865. But, and regardless of what my thoughts are about Teddy, he was an avid Second Amendment person, and he loved his Winchester lever actions. And what could be more iconic than having the choice of firearm that Teddy Roosevelt, who loved that Medora area, was using as our state firearm and make it our official state firearm and celebrate it. I just thought it'd be a great idea.
Lifetime NRA member too, Clay.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. In fact, there's a whole wing in the National Firearms Museum out at NRA headquarters that has Teddy Roosevelt's guns and several of his personal effects. It's pretty cool if you ever get it out there.
Yep. I think that's a great idea as well. I know Clay and I just started doing like a poll thing today on our Facebook page, and I think we're going to maybe put that up there. Maybe the next one after this first poll, Clay, if it goes over well, we'll put it up there. Lever action, bolt action. Maybe we can put up a couple different kinds and see what people do. But I think the best chance of that getting passed would be like Clay said. We got Teddy here, who has made himself pretty famous in the Badlands and put a lot of North Dakota on the map with his name by hunting out there. I think that would give it a better chance of passing. And I own a lever action 30-30, so I'm on board with that.
I got several lever actions too, and iconic guns. I can tell you this: if you start collecting lever action Winchesters, it's just another really expensive habit.
Oh, I bet it is. Listen, gentlemen, we have about 2 weeks remaining in the 68th Assembly of our state legislature. JD, how do you feel this legislative session has been concerning our Second Amendment rights, if you were to give it a grade?
I'm going to give it probably C minus. I think it was below average. A lot of these good bills never even made it out of these committees, and most of them that did got voted down even when they came out with a recommended due pass. So yeah, I'm not happy. I thought with some of the more conservative people that we had win the elections here the last time around, I thought it was going to go better for us. I'm not saying it was totally anti-gun by any means. Obviously, I said C minus, but yeah, I'm disappointed in what happened. There shouldn't be, in my opinion, if you're a Republican, even if you're not a conservative, you should still be 100% behind the Second Amendment. So there should never be any gun bill, in my opinion, that a Republican shouldn't vote to pass. That not only expands your Second Amendment civil rights, but reinstates them. So that's my opinion on that.
Clay?
Well, yeah, and I give it a D. I'm going to go even lower because when you have a super majority of GOP candidates and our state platform, as you know, I've been involved with our district party for some time, but our platform protects the Second Amendment. It's stated in our platform. It's a pillar of the GOP platform. Yeah, we've got these rhinos, and I'll call them what they are. I think they're Republicans in name only, sitting in our state legislature because they couldn't win as an actual Democrat, so they switched parties, and it's starting to show on these votes. These votes shouldn't even be close. When you have a super majority in both the House and the Senate, these votes on Second Amendment issues shouldn't even be close, and they failed miserably on some key bills that would have actually enhanced the Second Amendment rights and expanded the rights of North Dakotans. And it shouldn't even be an issue in a state like North Dakota. You'd see things like this in Iowa, possibly, maybe Minnesota, where you never know, it's going to be wishy-washy. But we have that right now in North Dakota, and everybody thinks North Dakota's safe when it comes to the Second Amendment. And even when I was the NRA rep, I said it's not. You have to be involved. I mean, we had red flag laws here just 2 sessions ago that were being brought up, supported by our Republican majority leaders. That was really disturbing. And then they backpedaled on it. So it's not as safe as we think. It showed this year. I think the Senate was worse than the House. And I think there needs to be some big changes. Luckily, I will say in my District 31, both of our reps, and I want to thank Dawson Hawley and Karen Rohr, because they were solid. They really were on the Second Amendment issues. Even Scheibel, he did a pretty good job, and everyone knows there's no love lost between me and him, but on the Second Amendment, he did pretty good. So it's the other districts, and we got to get to work on them.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, I'm disappointed, but hopefully, if I'm going to have a talk with some of them, see why they did that. I questioned some of them, sent them emails. I never did get a response from my House members on why they would do that. So I guess the next District 35 meeting when I'm there, I'm just going to have to ask them face to face.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, one final quick topic. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but I did get the email from the North Dakota Game and Fish here. I think it was about an hour or so ago, but they released the 2022 bighorn sheep numbers, their survey, which revealed a record 347 bighorn sheep in the grasslands of western North Dakota. That's up about 4% from the previous year and 15% over the 5-year average. Break it down, 96 rams, 206 ewes, and 45 lambs altogether. Are you surprised a little bit after the harsh winter we had that we've got those kind of numbers, JD?
Yeah, I am. I'm surprised that anything actually went up the way we had the winter we had. I told you a couple of times about our farm. My dad actually called me. A bunch of snow had melted, and I thought the pheasants had fared better, and so did he. But he said he found there in the creek banks just, lots of pheasants laying there dead, not killed by anything. Snow came over, killed them. They're laying on it. But we still have a decent population compared to last spring. But yeah, a lot of those are gone. And obviously, he said the deer, the deer aren't as high as they were either, but there's still a pretty good population of mule deer there. But yeah, I'm surprised that anything actually went up. So maybe the sheep like bad winters, I guess, huh?
To me, what I wonder is, being out in the Badlands area in western North Dakota, how bad the winter really was. I'm not sure if they had the snow like we did, but I know bighorn sheep are pretty resilient to weather, but they do have some issues when it comes to disease. And that was always the problem out there, but it seems like they've gotten them over that hump. So, hey, maybe I'll get a tag this year. Who knows?
Hopefully. I don't even put in for those, actually.
I put in just about every year, and I would love to go, and I got a couple places I can go. So that makes a big difference. And there are some big rams out there. If you've never been out to the Badlands out in that area hiking around, go do it just to see if you can find the herds. There are some huge rams that they'll rival some of these other states that are known for their sheep hunting. So
awesome.
Go enjoy it right here in our own home state.
Yeah, I've only seen them from the highway up there going to Watford, and even just seeing them from that distance, I was pretty impressed with them. Yeah, they're cool animals for sure.
Clay, I feel it's your year, so good luck to you, my friend. Hopefully you get drawn for that.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, what do you got coming up on the Wednesday podcast show?
Well, Jay, Clay and I thought we've been talking about this, these mass shootings here for the last couple of weeks. We're going to try and keep it a little more upbeat, not only here on your show, but on ours. So we're going to kind of talk about how the AR-15's kind of becoming the symbol of the right, which I'm not necessarily thinking I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
I like that. And I don't know, Clay, we had some general gear stuff and hunting stuff. We were going to kind of try and stay away mostly from the politics. It's almost impossible to do that, but
the big thing that we were kind of talking, spring has finally sprung, thank goodness, the way it looks. So we're going to have a lot of prairie dog shooting coming up, I have no doubt. And some guys like to get out there and do coyote hunting as those pups are going to start exploring and getting out on their own. It's a great time to take a young hunter and get them introduced to predator hunting because they are easier to get. You can call them in easier. You can get them to stand still, and you can actually get some good clean shots and teach another skill to a young shooter and hunter. But prairie dog season's on us, so I think we're going to kind of go over, what do you use? What's the best gear? Who likes what? And just kind of keep it focused on that and kind of get off of the politics. Not that we don't like it, but it's we got to have something fun and upbeat and positive. So.
I mean, it wears you down. You can hear politics any place you want.
Everywhere.
So, and like I said, we're not going to totally stay away from it with that AR-15 story. We're going to probably lead off with that, but we'll have some fun with that and mix in some politics on that. And as far as hunting goes too, now that we get a lot of beavers coming through our land up there in Golden Valley and Goodman Creek, and this water's going down. So, probably going to talk about, how we hunt some beavers a little bit. I don't trap them. My dad used to. We shoot them now. So we'll talk about that. There's going to be a bunch of them coming through. I'm quite sure of that. I already seen a video from somebody up there that sent me. They got one that was swimming and they're mowing on some trees. So, and we don't have many trees. So when something's killing the trees, sorry, they got to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Clay, tell the folks where they can tune in for the podcast and when and where.
Well, every Wednesday night, live at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central. You can find it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube. And, of course, at our website, gunsandthe701.com. It's there every single Wednesday night. And, of course, on Fridays, you can tune in to Mitchell in the Morning. We're on with Todd Mitchell every single morning at 11:40 Central, 11:40 Mountain, 12:40 Central. And we basically, I think we're going to talk a little bit with him on the same subjects. And even mention the poll, because I don't know if Jamie mentioned it. We're going to try to come back with results on your show next Monday.
It's up there right now. I just put it up about an hour ago. We're getting a lot of people voting on it. So go on Guns and the 701 on Facebook and feel free to take that poll and go ahead and leave a comment if you want. Yeah, we're going to let it roll, Jay. Like I said, we're going to do this poll thing. If it turns out good, I don't know if we're going to do it every week, but every other week for sure. Aren't we, Clay?
I think we'll try it. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, polls are fun. I mean, I get sucked into taking polls. You got to get your dang opinion out there with that. But
you get nice feedback.
Yeah, if you miss anything live that we do, you go on to iHeartRadio or your other favorite podcast platforms. Check it out. And Clay, a lot of times, usually, right, Clay, and you got service, which is almost all the time. Clay will put everything up on our Facebook page and YouTube and our website, so you can catch this on there too.
All right,
I
gentlemen.
didn't go live today with it because we were having troubles, but it is being recorded. So it will upload here shortly later today. So.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. As always, every Monday, 12:30, you can catch it right here in the Crosshairs with JD and Clay. And guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we'll catch up with you again next Monday.
Thank you, Jay. See you in a week.
Jay, and as always, keep your powder dry.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much.